couple of months ago, I got a really cool note from Brian Elliott, pro NHL goalie, and I was really taken back by what he went on to say. And you know, he was telling me that he's got a pair of pads from his days in Philly that he'd like to pass along to me if I'm interested. You know, he's like, you know, there's some character in them. They're a bit of a throwback. So if you want them, they're yours. And Brian, I just got to pause for a minute and say thank you very much. I am honored to have them. I didn't have any intention of wearing them, but then I pulled them out of the box and I realized they were my size. And I've never worn Lefebvre pads before, so I was so excited to give them a spin. So these are Brian Elliott's pads from his time in Philly, the true 12.1. And Brian played for the Flyers from 2017 to 2021. And I'll post a picture of him in these. But I was thrilled to see them in person. You know, the color zones, really simple. The overall construction, the feel, and, you know, wearing them on ice. I wore them probably 6 times right up until the end of my season. And I am in love with these pads. I absolutely love them. So I'm going to take a few minutes and just kind of walk everybody through sort of the specs and just some of the things that I highlighted, and I hope you find it interesting. So just a little bit about Brian Elliott. So Brian, as you know, was drafted by the Sens in 2003, and he played with the Sens between Binghamton and the Sens for I think the first 3 years that he was in the NHL. And if I'm not mistaken, the most games he's played in a single season was with the Sens, 55 games. So you know, he's played 500 plus games in his career. Great goalie. I followed him for most of his career. So again, I'm really thrilled to have these pads. So the true 12.1 has been around, I want to say 4 years now. The pad overall construction, pretty straightforward. Nothing out of the ordinary. 3 round knee rolls, square outer roll, the angle of the boot, and it's got a great flex to it, which is what I really like. The seal along the ice, perfect, no issue there. Around the back of the pad is also very straightforward. Now, one thing to just mention, I don't know what a stock 12.1 looks like compared to what this is, this being a pro pad. I would assume there's been some or many, I don't know for sure, like tweaks and adjustments to the pro pad for Brian. Maybe some things according to his preferences. So I don't know between stock and pro what the changes were, but I will tell you that this pad overall is pretty straightforward. You know, knee block placement, back of the knee strap, the calf wrap. So I'll be honest, I'm not used to Velcro. I generally run with leather straps only. This pad is a combination of both, which I actually really like. So here's a close-up what I'm talking about. So there's the knee, and then down into here you've got inside, right? This is where you're sliding. Then you've got a wrap here, and then you've got these two that hug the calf. There's your Velcro strap, and there's the inside of the leg channel. And that's where I noticed a big difference from this pad to other pads that I've worn with the addition of this wrap in combination with the straps. I would say that's probably the first thing I noticed wearing these pads was just how comfortable the pad rested on my leg. So looking at what True has done since then, at the later models of this, plus the hazardous, there's been some, from what I can see, some really great advancements, great R&D into how the pad rotates on your leg and how your calf is in that cradle and how it wraps. So the rotation, when you go down in the butterfly, is great. You know, I was a stand-up most of my life, but I've modified the way I play so I can wear the gear. I'm a vintage guy through and through, but I'm also big on gear development. Having worked at iTech, having worked at Bauer, I love to see the product, you know, develop and enhance with the game. So overall, I really like the build of the lower part of the pad. I like that advancement. And then we've got the boot channel. So this is probably, for me, this is probably something I'm not used to, is a shallow boot channel. You can see here, a bit of a recess, but not a lot. And that's intentional, obviously. The way the pad sits on the skate when you make contact going down in your butterfly. And then lastly, you've got the toe bridge, the lace to the inside. And a lot of that, we all know, all of these elements, the way the pad sits on the leg, the way the boot channel is designed, the toe bridge, the skates now without cowlings, and I'm sure there's more. I'm sure I'm missing something. It's all about that primary point of contact. I mean, goalies today now play so low crouch. It's all about getting post to post. It's that speed. It's that reaction time. It's really quite impressive. So that's the lower part of the pad. Another detail I wanted to mention on the inside of the pad is a different material. Now, I don't know this for sure, but I'm guessing this is to enhance sliding or to increase the sliding when you're down in the butterfly and you're sliding from side to side. You can hear that. It's got a bit of a texture to it. So there was a game I was in early on. I went down, I pushed off in the butterfly, and I just kept right on sliding. It was incredible how much I was sliding. A lot of that's because of this material. So I wasn't used to that, so a little bit different. Last but not least, and this is on the other pad, something I really want to call out because it's just cool. Brian mentioned this too when he sent me the pads, where right up in here, just some incredible stitch work by his equipment manager. So he was telling me there was a bit of a flurry in front of the net, and one of the players' skates hit his pad, sliced it right open, and so you've got a bit of a Frankenstein stitch. So he stitched the pad up, went right back out there and kept playing. So just some great character, a lot of puck marks from NHL pros. So just a lot of character in this in both pads. Really excited to have them. There's a story, right? And that's what I love the most, is the story behind the piece. So again, thank you very much, Brian. I'm thrilled to own them, and they're going to live here in my basement. If there's anything that's really special, that stays down here in the basement. So thanks very much. It's going to make a great conversation piece. And thanks everyone for watching. Have a good day.